All right, folks, once again, I am Tom Downey. Alongside me is James Yoder here live from the Media Center at the Cotton Bowl. Let's move now to the Orange Bowl, James. Alabama, Oklahoma. Do you like points? Because I think you're going to like this game.
Tom, over under 77. This is out of control.
Is this basketball?
Lunacy. This is crazy. Now, I actually wouldn't be surprised. You might sound, oh, James, you're crazy. You're wild. I would not be surprised if that is hit by one of the teams. I'm not even joking. I could see Alabama scoring 77 points on Oklahoma's defense. Like, why wouldn't they be able to do it? To prove me wrong.
Actually, funny enough, Oklahoma, Alabama did play basketball last year in January. Final score was 80-73. So I don't know if we'll quite get that, but maybe we get one of the halftime scores, 41-35 or something like that. But look, Oklahoma's offense, we know how dynamic they are. If they win this game, James, and they play the title game, I would not be surprised if you end up with 3 different rushers hitting 1,000 yards. Because Kennedy Brooks is already there. Trey Sermon's less than 100, and Kyler Murray's like 120 or something like that away.
Kyler Murray has a chance.
They could get it this game.
The first 3,000, 1,000 player in college football history, or maybe first Heisman winner to do
first
that?
Heisman winner.
First Heisman winner, 3,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing, Tom. And I mean, I think if he was a worse passer, he's the kind of guy with the talent. He could have got 1,500 yards rushing. He's just such a good passer, Tom. I know you say I'm crazy, but I think Kyler Murray's future is riding on this game. If he can light up a Nick Saban-led NFL-style defense, that talent,
he's going to have to think about it.
If he can score, if he can throw 300 yards, put another 60, 70 on the ground, Tom, or more than that, I think you're going to have college football or NFL scouts coming to him and saying, "Hey, you're not going to last past pick 20. You're not going to get out of that first round." That's $15, $20 million guaranteed potentially, Tom. I think Kyler Murray is going to seriously consider it if he's got $9 million waiting for him with the Oakland A's. If he lights up this Alabama defense to drop 300 yards passing, I don't think there's any reason why he doesn't give the NFL a shot as a first-round quarterback. Justin Herbert not coming out, Tom. That is looking awfully friendly, that first-round draft, if you're a quarterback coming out, first-round talent like he is.
I think at worst he goes in that Lamar Jackson range. So the betting odds here, line opened at Bama -11, has gone up from 13.5 to 14 as well.
Yep.
I'm excited to see how this one turns out because I think it's going to stay as Bama being the heavy favorite. I do love how the over-under has actually been betted down a little bit. Opened at 79, gone down to 77.
Yeah. And
just interesting, right?
And Tom, the thing that makes this line so intriguing to me is I believe this is really a 7-point line in a 35-28 game. The only reason it's 14 is because the reality is this is a 45 to 51, 51-45 game. This is a 52 to 40 game kind of thing. And so a 14-point spread in normal college football this is a 7-point, 8-point spread. But because Oklahoma can score at anybody at any time and their defense gets scored on by anybody, including Kansas, this is not a normal spread. So I think when you're betting this game, Tom, when you're looking at this, you've got to think, is 56 to 41 likely? Yeah, that is pretty likely, and that would cover the spread for Alabama. So I think this game is going to be more competitive than a lot of people think. People just expect, Alabama's going to blow them out, of course. Oklahoma's got no defense, but they've had 4 weeks to look at this matchup, Oklahoma's defense. They've got talent on that defense. They don't much of a defensive game plan, but Kyler Murray won the Heisman. There is some revenge factor there. I think Oklahoma can score 45 to 50 points on Alabama's defense. Alabama has only been challenged in the fourth quarter of one game this year, and they need their backup quarterback, who's, by the way, a 24-2 starter himself, to come back and win the game, Tom. But if Tua stays in that game, from what I saw in the first 3 quarters, Alabama probably loses that game. They probably are still in the playoff regardless.
Right. He did need ankle surgery. But
yeah, for sure.
And he's not 100% either right now.
And so with that being said, Oklahoma has been challenged in these close games many a times. They had 5 or 6 games in the fourth quarter where
Army went to overtime.
Yeah, for sure. Army, clearly both Texas games were closer than a lot of people expected. I mean, Tom, they gave up 40 points to Kansas. West Virginia game was one they needed to go. So if it comes down to the fourth quarter, even if Alabama's up by 10 points in the fourth quarter, I'm not counting Oklahoma out. I want to know from the people, but I've got a surprise pick for this one.
I know you do.
A lot to know from you guys. Type A for Alabama. Type O for Oklahoma. Tom, if you were a bettor and you think Alabama or think Oklahoma wins this game, there is a lot of money to be made on that money line. You put down $100, Alabama, Oklahoma wins outright, Tom. It's almost $500 you're going to win.
Even the value from it.
Sure.
Plus 451 is what we saw last. That's worth a bet, and because of the upside of it. There's a reason they're an underdog, but that's a lot of money to make for a good Oklahoma team.
I can't remember what it was, Tom, but I did put some money after we did these announcements. I think it's like I put 20 on plus 1,600 for Alabama to win the national title or something like that. So I think my 20, I win $3,200 or $320, something along those lines. But Type A for Alabama. Yeah. Type O for Oklahoma. Down below in the comment, we are live from the Cotton Bowl Media Center, Tom. They have stamped the passbook. We are now big time. We're getting semifinal credentials here, broadcasting
just
live.
Travel and
what's that?
And media together and with a passbook.
Yeah, passbook. Chunk, you are stamped. It's like that episode of Seinfeld, Tom. Once your hand is stamped, you just come and go as you please. He was talking about the nightclub he got into.
Okay.
A for Alabama, O for Oklahoma. Tom, let's take a look at the Alabama 2018 season. Lot of blowouts. Louisville, Arkansas State dropping 60, 45, 56 on big-time schools. Louisiana, obviously not a big-time school there. But we go out to kind of the second half of their schedule, dropping 65 at Arkansas. Closer game than some people expected with Missouri. I guess closer given that you win by 30 points. Dropped 58 on Tennessee. And then, LSU blowing them out, Tom. Texas A&M being a school that they beat by 22. Beat number, I think it was 3 at the time. Yeah. LSU 29-0 in Baton Rouge. Mississippi State beat on them. And then, of course, the we're going to just schedule a game so all of our teams move up by 4 points in the end of November. The win over the Citadel, which time were they tied 10-10 at the half. Auburn blew them out 30+. And then Georgia down 28-21, Tom, halfway through the fourth quarter. 2 Jalen Hurts touchdowns to win the game, and that disastrous fourth down fake punt with Justin Fields for Georgia really sealed the opportunity for Alabama. Take us through Alabama's last 5 bowl games.
Well, of course, they had the championship game against Georgia, and then the semifinal against Clemson, and then they lost the championship game against Clemson. They only go back to 2015, James. That's how many times they've played games as of late. The common theme there, of course, Clemson. Yeah. Bama versus Clemson, Part 4 potentially coming up here.
And I don't want to see that game, Tom. I really want Notre Dame or Oklahoma to win the game. I don't really care which one does. Maybe from my gambling perspective, I want Oklahoma to win this one. But I want to think that a team has a chance in this college football playoff era where the rich are getting richer, Tom. It's like
no parity.
It's like a celebrity. Kanye can put out a tweet, and no matter if he's put out an album lately or not, it gets the views, even though he's not the best rapper in the game.
The people going.
Alabama is the same thing. Clemson's doing the same thing. They're getting better recruits because of the college football playoff. They're the team that's in it every year, so they can say, wait, you want to go to Ohio State? Well, they've only been in it 2 years. We've been in it 5 years. Why would you go to them? You want to go to Michigan? Well, they've never been in it. You want to go to USC? They've never been in it. These are the games that matter. Come play at Alabama. Come play at Clemson. And so for that perspective, for the future of college football, I do want to see Oklahoma or Notre Dame win one of the games.
All right, I'll talk about Oklahoma as well. They've had a little bit of a tougher path in terms of the margin of victory. FAU, UCLA had no problems there. Iowa State, a brief scare. Army, that game went to overtime. They manhandled Baylor. Then the loss, of course, to Texas, also here in Dallas. So, maybe Dallas has cursed Oklahoma. Dallas/Arlington, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it does, Tom. The Texas Tech one was an interesting one. It's one of those games they could have won, but I think that's one of the ones that tests them, right? If they get into a shootout where both teams are scoring 7 touchdowns, maybe 8 touchdowns or higher, Tom, that is a game that's going to help them. The Texas games are ones that are going to help them. West Virginia, just look at their last 5 games, Tom. If you look at that Texas Tech game, Oklahoma State, Kansas, West Virginia, they're in a huge scoring game, scoring 50+ pretty much every game except for Texas, but they're close games every one. And, it's not like it's 59-0 like Alabama's. They're games where they had to score, Tom. They had to continue to pour it on. And if Alabama's scoring, let's say it's 35-35 at halftime, I think that favors Oklahoma. I really do, because they have been in the position where it's score or die. Score or your season is over. And Alabama really, outside of Jalen Hurts there at the end of the SEC championship, has not been in that position. So, Tom, I like Oklahoma a lot more than the average person does.
Here are their last 5 bowl games, by the way. Of course, that thrilling semifinal against Georgia last year. And then, oh, look, Clemson again.
Yeah, I mean,
all the teams play each other.
Well, no, I mean, Tom, Oklahoma's played Clemson a number of times. You see 2 losses, a couple of blowout losses to Clemson in bowl games, one in the semifinal and then one in the Russell Athletic. That Russell Athletic was a huge blowout. But they've got that, you go back 5 years, they've got that win over Nick Saban in Alabama, obviously with Trevor Knight as the quarterback, with Bob Stoops as the coach. So not this current
Trevor
contingent.
Knight's the Alabama killer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bowl game, Trevor Knight's best quarterback ever.
Yes. Large Game Lincoln, the name I have coined him as an opportunity to live up to my nickname with this one time. Can he slay Alabama? Can he slay Alabama? An Alabama team, at the middle of the third quarter of that Georgia game, some people were still calling the greatest college football team we have ever seen, Tom. And that shine, that luster has come off with the close win over Georgia, with Tua not winning the Heisman, which is one of the greater upsets in recent Heisman memory. Kyler Murray to come back and win this one. But the question I have for you, Tom, is is the Kyler Murray Tua storyline something that motivates either team differently?
I don't think it's going to be one that motivates Saban. That's typically not his MO.
Well, wouldn't it be like, hey,
but I'm sure it motivates Tyler a little bit extra.
I'm going to do my Nick Saban impersonation. It's like,
it.
y'all going to listen to that rap poison the Heisman voters put in your ears? You got to win this one for Tua.
That's fair.
Everything has
That's
that. So, Tua's ankle injury time. Talk about this Heisman
That's a concern for me.
Let's take a look at the stats for these two guys. Compare Kyler Murray. Compare Tua. Why didn't Tua win that Heisman Trophy?
The numbers, and of course what we saw in the SEC title game when Tua goes down with the injury and all that. Kyler Murray, of course, put up fantastic numbers game in, game out. Even in the losses, Kyler Murray put up those video game type numbers. We're almost at the 5,000-yard mark, and he's going to get it in the first quarter against Alabama.
Yeah, and Tom, where Kyler Murray has a different level is his ability to do it on the ground, almost 900 yards
dynamic.
rushing. Could have had a lot more, but he's just such a dang good passer that it was almost stupid to not have him put the ball in the air. But at 5'10", he will be challenged by this Oklahoma defensive line, linebacker, second, the entire Alabama defense will be a challenge for him. They will be bigger and faster than any defense I believe he's faced in his college career.
The thing I am most excited to see is going to be the trench warfare in this game. Oklahoma, I think, has the best offensive line in college football. Multiple guys you're going to see be drafted in the NFL. Alabama, meanwhile, has 2 first-round picks on their defensive line alone.
Yeah.
In Raekwon Davis and Quinnen Williams, who was also a Heisman contender.
Some people are calling Quinnen Williams the first pick in the draft now. I saw that in recent mock drafts. He could be the first pick in the draft. He gave a pretty funny answer where he literally had a brain freeze of epic proportions yesterday. They asked him about Kyler Murray, and he said, "Oh yeah, Kyler Murray." He's like, "Well, I don't think Kyler Murray is always being."
And then
he
realized,
stopped and froze and looked around and couldn't even. He said he was going.
He realized that he probably shouldn't
I'm good. He just goes, but he paused for 9 seconds.
Because he realized Nick Saban was going to chew his hands
out. Yeah, for sure.
If he
Don't
said
give him any
anything
Billboard
else.
material is the question. Take a look at Tua Tagovailoa's stats. Walk us through why he is such a legendary college football quarterback.
Because despite being only a true sophomore, he looks so advanced as a pocket passer. And he can run a little bit, but he does benefit from an immensely talented wide receiver core. But Tua has consistently made impressive throws. He's made the big plays when needed outside of the SEC title game because his ankle is not right. By the way, he's doing this on one leg. I don't think his knee's right. His ankle clearly not right. Had to undergo surgery. He said he's going to be 80 to 85%. That's player speak for, I'm not right, but I ain't missing this game.
Yeah, Tom, just a handful of interceptions. 4 for him. Didn't throw one.
All late in the game. All late in the season.
Late in this, didn't throw one through past the halfway point in the season. Those 37 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, Tom. It's amazing. You're getting quarterbacks throwing 25, 30, 35 touchdowns and less than 5 interceptions, Tom. Twice this year it happened. Tua, and I believe it was Dwayne Haskins as well. And that only happened, I think, 4 other times in the last 20 years in college football where you get somebody 30 or more touchdowns and less than 5 interceptions. But you're seeing it all over. As we put together our 2019 Heisman Trophy list, you're seeing guys 27 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 22 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So it is a quarterback era in college football like we've never seen.
And then Damien Harris, I guess, leads. It's almost a true 3-headed attack with Joshua Jacobs, Damien Harris, and Najee Harris, all 3 immensely talented halfbacks. You'll see all 3 make plays, I think, against Oklahoma. Jay.
The Harris brothers, 1,771 yards, Tom,
No
7 touchdowns for Damien Harris. Where do you project him in the NFL draft quickly?
I think he's going to go fairly early. I think in a down halfback class, he's probably going to go mid to late day 2, at worst early day 3.
Nice.
Josh Jacobs might end up being only higher than him. Jerry Jeudy, meanwhile, part of a very, very talented Alabama wide receiver core. Jalen Waddle in there as well. Yeah. Judy's going to have a potential field day against a not very good Oklahoma secondary.
Jeudy, only a true sophomore, Tom, came in that same class with Najee Harris, with Tua, the best offensive class coming in that recruiting class that are not true sophomores across the nation. He is the best wide receiver in the country, in my opinion.
And then perhaps the best defensive lineman in the country, Quinnen Williams, has just been disruptive game in and game out. He's going to get a good matchup against guys like Drew Samaria of the Oklahoma offensive line. I can't wait to see Williams in this game. At linebacker, Mack Wilson, who might actually return for his senior season alongside a just stupid deep Alabama defensive line, because Alabama does, James, just have all of the 5 stars.
Yeah, and Tom, the interesting thing about Mack Wilson is, one, his name is amazing. It's a true football name. It really
That's
is.
a linebacker name.
Yeah, he is a guy that the average college football fan may have never heard of, but he's projected maybe as a first-round draft pick.
He goes pro. He's going first round.
It's really surprising. Maybe it's not surprising. It's just amazing is a better word for it. How deep Alabama is when they've got 5 guys potentially, Tom, who are first-rounders on that defense right now. And someone like Mack Wilson, the average college football fan, isn't even paying attention to, Tom. You project another year ahead, the 2020 NFL draft, basically a year from April, May, then you're going to have 5, 6 guys from Alabama's offense that are going to go pro in the first round that year. So the talent will not stop on the Alabama side of things. This year it's defensive heavy. Next year, when it's guys like Tua, Jeudy, and some others, maybe Najee Harris, if he gets a bigger role, will be first rounders into the 2020 draft. Tom, take us over to Oklahoma. Talk about the Heisman Trophy winner, Mr. Kyler Murray, the 2-star sports star himself.
Well, there's not much left to be said at this point. We've all said how immensely talented Kyler Murray is on the ground, through the air, has made consistently great plays, and I think you'll see him run the ball. And in years past, James, maybe not so much this year or last year even, what's given Alabama trouble? It's been the mobile dual threat quarterback who can run and throw. That's what Kyler Murray can do.
All right, let me throw a little bit of reality to you college football fans over there, because I have heard every single person who wants to give Kyler Murray and Oklahoma, myself included, I'm one of those people, a bigger chance than the sports books and the analysts will give you is, tell me a quarterback in college football that has been great in the last 10 years that has not been a dual threat. So it's like, okay,
fair.
Alabama's lost
That's
7 games in the past decade, and they've all been against legendary Heisman Trophy level dual threat quarterbacks, which is basically every quarterback in the SEC these days, the dual threats. So, it's been Cam Newton. Okay, yeah, he won some games. Johnny Manziel. Oh, okay, he won some games. Even the quarterback at Ohio State, he has the ability to do some things with his feet.
You slander Swag Kelly, my friend.
Yeah, I think you get Deshaun Watson. I mean, we're talking about Heisman Trophy, NFL superstar level quarterback. So I think it's more of that than it is, oh, God, anybody who can run is just going to beat Alabama.
It's fair. It's very fair. So Kennedy Brooks leads the way for Oklahoma on the ground. Again, we mentioned this earlier. Trey Sermon, also a good runner, kind of more of a bruiser. Brooks, more of a home run threat, 9 yards per carry, which is mind-boggling for running back. And then one of my favorite receivers this year, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown. The dude's a speed demon.
Tom,
if he's healthy, he's kind of banged up as well right now.
The offensive talent on Oklahoma is as good as Alabama, which is surprising. The accolades coming out of high school much better for Alabama. But Tom, Kennedy Brooks, when we started putting together our Heisman list for next year, I considered putting him on there. He is averaging 9 yards a carry, Tom. Does it, at the highest level as far as per yard average as a true freshman. He is one that's going to be in the Heisman race in future years. And then Oklahoma's receiving core is amazing, Tom. And then plus they've got 3 guys, 2 guys for sure, and one other guy, 5-star or high 4-star level receivers coming in next year.
Kennedy Brooks isn't supposed to be playing for Oklahoma. It was supposed to be Rodney Anderson. He tore his ACL. He's out for the season. Instead, Brooks has stepped up. Marquise Brown has stepped up. The concern for me, James, obviously, is the defense. The defense is not very good. Now, Kenneth Murray's been a tackling machine. There are some good linebackers on this core. Murray, Caleb Kelly, who was a former 5-star recruit not that long ago. Curtis Bolton also was able to make some plays, but I worry about this team stopping Tua through the air. He's going to pick apart this defense.
Tom, and I think Tua is going to pick apart any defense he faces. I don't think it's just Oklahoma.
His ankle's not broken.
And so if you were going to put together a game plan to beat Alabama, I actually think in my heart of hearts that it is a team like Oklahoma that forces Alabama to not run maybe what Nick Saban would potentially turn to, which is more, I know they've been throwing it all over the place last year, but think about Nick Saban's entire history of his career.
It's been the ground control offense.
Let's get up by 21, 24 points, and then just ground and pound it, get this thing over with, let's win the game. He's okay winning the games, 28-7, 29-0 like LSU, but this year it's been more of the 65-point games, throwing it all over the place, and that's how Oklahoma plays. So Oklahoma is one of the few teams in the country that has the offensive talent to force Alabama to play their style, Oklahoma style, and not maybe Alabama style. So Nick Saban, as great of a coach, as great as the talent he has, and as much points and as much they've done on offense this year, I actually think that they are at a disadvantage from the pace and the tempo and the way they like to play the game versus Oklahoma compared to any other team they would have faced in the college football playoff. This is the matchup that really can give them a challenge, which is why I like Oklahoma. Tom, I'm going to put it up there. What I know from the people: A for Alabama, O for Oklahoma. Watching on Facebook Live and YouTube. We are live from the Cotton Bowl Media Center. Tom, let's take a look at the chat sports picks. Yourself, myself, and our other analyst / producer, Brett Scott,
y'all are insane.
working on the show. taking a look at what we picked, Tom. You've got Alabama in a close one, 40-37. I've got Oklahoma winning it outright, 45-41. Brett, almost the same score. And by the way, we did not talk about these in advance.
We didn't.
So pretty surprising. Almost the identical scores, just flip-flop a little bit. 42-38 for Brett. Picking Oklahoma to win the game, Tom, would be a huge upset. 14-point favorites Alabama is would be a huge upset because you could win if you put $100 up, Tom, on Oklahoma on the money line, you win about 500 bones. So we've all got the over. Website. Brett and I have the over and Oklahoma. You have the under.
I have a push. I'll be honest, I didn't realize it was going to be a push when I predicted my score. Therefore, I'm a genius.
What kind of score is 37? That's like saying, oh, I've got Alabama. They're going to win 14-11. How do you get to 11? How do you get to 37?
That's how all the scores end up being, James. We've done the score predictions. Yeah. No one gets them right because it's always a weird score.
We've done many predict the scores to win money. No one ever gets them right. Knock on wood. That happens, Tom. You've got the spread there. Alabama at 14 points. An over-under of 77 points in this one, Tom. The biggest, I believe, over-under in a college football playoff game so far. If you want to bet on it, if you want to win some straight cash, homie, Chat Sports and BetDSI, hooking you up with the promo code of 2018, the award-winning promo code, Tom. Best promo code of the year. Voted on. Live 120, 120% deposit bonus. Go to BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Get you that promo code when you enter it, live 120. You put in 50, Tom. How much? What's the math on that? How much you get?
Oh, 120% bonus. Put in 50, you get 60.
$100. How much you get extra?
Oh, 120.
120. So you've heard the math there. Go ahead and do it.
Hard.
Bet on college football games this season, NFL into March Madness and the NBA playoffs. It is the only way in this new era of sports betting no longer being illegal to enjoy games another level up. And by the way, it's the only way I can watch some of these bowl games that have been a disaster this year if I've got some straight cash homie riding on it with BetDSI.
Cal TCU was awesome. What are you talking about?